Looking beyond the white dress and veil, weddings are a universal expression of love. How each culture around the world goes about celebrating these ceremonies is very different. Here in America, we take bits and pieces of each culture's traditions and rituals and we place them into our own wedding ceremonies because we don't really have any traditions that are really from America itself. So we take bits and pieces and use them. First, looking at the royal family. The groom is required to wear full military attire throughout the entire ceremony. The bride has to wear a white dress, but she is able to wear either long sleeves or short sleeves, but traditionally every bride in royal history has worn long sleeves. The bride carries the traditional bouquet of flowers, but in the bouquet she has to have a sprig of myrtle, which came from Queen Victoria, and it comes from the royal garden. It's just a plant from their garden. After the ceremony, the bride places her bouquet on the tomb of the unknown warrior, just in respect for their military. Their cake is not like our traditional cake where we can pick our cake flavor, our filling flavor. They don't get to do any fun things like that. They have to have a multi-tiered fruit cake, and they do not get to eat their cake with their guests at the banquet. They actually take slices of it afterwards and they mail it to each one of their guests. Looking at China, the bride has to wear 3 dresses. The first dress is a red dress with a red veil covering her face, and this is worn at the Kai Pao ceremony. Red for the Chinese culture means happiness, prosperity, and good luck. The second dress is a white formal dress that is worn at the tea ceremony. And the third dress is a dress of the bride's choice that is worn at the banquet. During the banquet, the bride and groom leave red envelopes for their guests, and their guests give them money as gifts, and the bride and groom take note of how much each guest gives them, and when that guest gets married, the bride and groom are required to give that guest more money than they were given at their wedding. Moving on to the Hindu religion, they also wear red dress and red garments. However, red means something a little different to the Hindus. It means rising sun and prosperity and fertility. The bride is required to be covered in henna, which is a temporary tattoo. It is covered all over her hands, her arms, and her legs. This takes hours to apply and hours to dry, and it typically turns into a ceremony itself, and this is called the Mehndi ceremony. The Hindu do not get to pick their own wedding dates. The bride's birthday and the groom's birthday are given to an astrologist, and the astrologist looks into the stars and that determines when they will get married, and this is a symbol of good luck for them. Lastly, looking at Africa, specifically the Zulu tribe, they do not exchange wedding bands throughout the ceremony. The bride makes beaded necklaces that are exactly the same for the bride, and she gifts her husband with them at the ceremony. This basically tells the tribe that they are an item. The groom is required to give the bride a gift. He gifts the bride's family with cattle. This is so basically a form of insurance that if the groom were to unjustly leave the bride, or if he were to suddenly pass, that the bride would have financial security after his passing. The bride does not wear a traditional dress of any kind. She is actually painted in red and white designs all over her body. She wears pebbles that are around her ankles, and this is mostly for the effects of dancing after the ceremony. During the ceremony, she wears a miniature knife around her neck, and it is pointing upward, and then that basically says that she is a virgin. After the ceremony, the wedding is consummated, and after the consummation, she comes out and she turns her knife downward, which symbolizes that she is no longer a virgin and that she is taken within the tribe. Marriage is the universal symbol of love throughout the globe. How every culture goes about celebrating it is very different. These examples shows that weddings are so much more than just the dress and the party to nearly every culture around the world.